Hi, I'm Reagan, and for this presentation, I did a case study on, or case presentation on Tyler Durden from Fight Club. Tyler is kind of two characters in the movie. The first Tyler is the Brad Pitt one, who he's a soap salesman. He is the co-founder of the Fight Club, and he's a very confident and assertive guy. That's just kind of his background. In the background of the other Tyler, the narrator of the movie, he's an insomniac. He is shy and kind of a pushover. He has a corporate job that he hates. He goes to support groups that he doesn't need to go in. And he's the other co-founder of Fight Club. And so the environment of this film, the culture is very dark, a lot of mental health things, but also violence, drugs, um, dangerous activities, fighting, obviously. So it's just like kind of a dark environment, but also kind of a cool in the same way, just because it's a film and they make it kind of cool. But yeah, dingy clubs, dingy houses, dirty. It's just, yeah, not a very clean place to be. And so the diagnosis from a dissociative and somatoform disorder was the Tyler's diagnosed with the dissociative identity disorder, which is a rare psychological disorder in which two or more personalities with distinct memories and behaviors um, patterns apparently exist in one individual. So this disorder can develop due to trauma, or in Tyler's case, he nothing was super clear on his trauma, but he did have like a really hard time and went through a lot of suffering. And then his apartment burned down, and it could have triggered that to really come into full force. And if Tyler, I think, went to therapists in the film, I think the therapist would really clearly be able to diagnose him with this because the symptoms are really obvious when you're not looking at two different characters. And I think this disorder could be diagnosed in any culture because there is always a possibility of trauma in the world. So evidence shown in this film is, first of all, some symptoms is memory loss of certain time periods, events, and information. And there's just many examples of Tyler not remembering what he did the day before, getting confused because he would just miss it in his memory. There's an example of him going into a bar and talking to the bartender, and he was told that he was there the night before, and he does not remember at all. This happens often. And then also another symptom is stark change in his personality. So it's not clear in the film because you don't know that it's the same person until later, but then you know that and you realize that his personality switches are completely different. Tyler Brad Pitt is very confident, assertive, and risky, while the narrator is kind of a worried, shy, soft-spoken person. They're very different. And evidence, a symptom that isn't really shown is blurred sense of identity. I think it is shown. It's just less because he does kind of know his identity throughout the whole movie until the very end when he starts to realize that he may not be who he thinks he is, but it takes a little bit. So yeah, it just is the least amount. So treatment for this, I think the best treatment plan for this would be psychotherapy or talk therapy. This disorder is usually caused by trauma or past events. And so bringing up those memories and talking through them can help, but also learning how to manage sudden changes in behavior and working to bring those multiple personalities back into one could be very helpful. And other life changes that I think Tyler could do to fix or help his situation is finding people that know what he's dealing with so that they can be there for him during both like switches of his personality and help him. Also, I think he should stop Fight Club, stop hanging out with those people who are doing violent crimes, and find a way to fix his insomnia problem in a healthy way. Some ethical concerns. I don't think that these treatments are unethical, but if anything, you may be able to say that changing or removing his personality and trying to take that away could be bad, but obviously it's not healthy. And some barriers that could cause him also to not do this is just the barrier of going to therapy from social standards sometimes is seen looked down upon. And then also there could be situations where one of his personality would be totally great with going to therapy, but then all of a sudden the other personality doesn't even acknowledge that they would want to do that. So that could be a problem. And some other things like money and the people in his life. And in a broader perspective, I think this disorder is portrayed well in the film. All the symptoms I think are shown pretty clearly. And it really is an interesting way to see how a person might feel with this disorder. I do think it's kind of romanticized because Tyler Durden, the Brad Pitt, was cool and it kind of like helped the other Tyler like do things that he wouldn't normally do, which is kind of romanticizing the disorder. Um, but it did help a lot with my understanding of this disorder because it made it very clear how it could feel to someone who has it, and also how different these personalities could be, and also how someone could be very confused with this disorder and really not know the truth. It may seem crazy, but the way what they actually see, like you would also, you wouldn't know the truth either because it seems real to you. Anyway, loved this movie. I love Brad Pitt, and yeah, it was really awesome.